Imagine this. A king, at the pinnacle of his power, collapses, and for 4 horrifying days, his most trusted doctors, sworn to save him, subject him to such unspeakable torment that they accelerate his death. He was, quite literally, cured to death. This isn't historical hyperbole. It's a chilling reality of how King Charles II of England met his end. And if you think you know medical history, prepare to have your mind blown. This story will make you profoundly grateful for every single modern doctor and every scientific breakthrough. If the thought of such a horrifying twist of fate intrigues you, if you crave the untold, darker corners of history, then please take a moment to hit that like button now. Your engagement signals to me that these deep dives into history's most gripping and often gruesome moments resonate with you. It helps this channel bring more forgotten tales to light. Thank you. February 2nd, 1685. The air in Whitehall Palace, the beating heart of Restoration England, thrummed with its usual vibrant energy. King Charles II, the merry monarch, was a man who seemed to defy the very concept of infirmity. At 54, he was not merely healthy, he was famously active. His passions included walking his beloved spaniel for miles through St. James's Park, engaging in lively debate, and overseeing the burgeoning scientific advancements of his age. He was a survivor, a king who had endured civil war, years of desperate exile, a forced return, and countless assassination plots. He had stared down Oliver Cromwell, outmaneuvered Parliament, and charmed his way through international politics. He was witty, intelligent, pragmatic, and above all, resilient. This particular morning, he was at his dressing table, preparing to shave. The mundane ritual, a familiar prelude to another bustling day, shattered in an instant. A sudden, piercing cry tore from his throat. His body convulsed violently, his limbs thrashing uncontrollably. The king, who had navigated the treacherous waters of power with such effortless grace, now found himself utterly at the mercy of his own flesh, collapsing into a heap on the chamber floor, unconscious. The suddenness of it was terrifying. Imagine the immediate chaos. The frantic shouts of the chamber grooms, the horrified gasps of the few attendants present. The very symbol of stability in England, the monarch himself, had been abruptly struck down. Messengers sprinted through the palace, their urgent cries echoing through the corridors, summoning the royal physicians, the most learned medical minds in the kingdom. But this was an era where the understanding of the human body remained shrouded in ancient mysteries and theories that, to modern eyes, seem utterly alien. The bedrock of 17th century medicine was still the millennial-old humoral theory. This belief system, inherited from ancient Greek and Roman thought, posited that the human body was governed by 4 vital fluids: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Good health was a perfect, delicate balance of these humors. Illness, conversely, was a direct result of an imbalance. Too much of one, too little of another. A violent fit like the king's could only mean one thing: a catastrophic overload, a dangerous excess of certain humors, particularly blood, overwhelming the system. The physicians, therefore, felt an overwhelming, almost sacred duty. Their king was in distress, and they had a clear, if misguided, pathway to salvation. Drain the excess, restore the balance. They were not malicious men. They were dedicated, brilliant by the standards of their time, but tragically bound by a flawed understanding of biology. They truly believed they were performing life-saving interventions. For Charles II, however, their fervent desire to cure him would unleash a torment that would shock the very foundations of his being. The stage was set not for recovery, but for a horrific, unintentional, and ultimately fatal experiment in archaic medicine. His royal chambers would become a torture chamber, his trusted doctors, his unwitting tormentors. What unfolded over the next 4 days was a medical nightmare of unprecedented scale, a relentless, systematic assault on the king's body. The physicians, convinced that his seizure was due to an overwhelming plethora of blood, initiated the first and most devastating of their interventions, aggressive bleeding. Imagine the scene. A vein, likely in his arm, opened, and the king's vital fluids, ounce by agonizing ounce, drained into basins. Not once, but again and again, with grim determination. Accounts from the period, meticulously recorded by bewildered attendants, reveal that Charles II was subjected to no fewer than 8 separate bleedings within those 4 days. Consider the sheer volume, multiple pints of blood, the very essence of his life force, systematically extracted. A healthy adult has roughly 10 pints of blood. Draining half of that, especially in such a short, brutal span, can be fatal. For Charles, already weakened, this wasn't treatment, it was a forced exsanguination, leaving him increasingly pale, faint, and utterly depleted. Each drop, intended to expel the illness, instead pushed him further into the depths of shock and anemia. The chamber, once a beacon of royal power, became a stark theater of decline, painted red with the king's diminishing vitality. But the doctors were far from done. Believing certain humors to be localized, they then resorted to cupping and scarification. Glass cups, heated to create a vacuum, were applied to the king's skin, drawing the flesh upwards. Then, sharp blades or scarificators were used to make small, deliberate cuts on the raised skin, allowing more blood and fluid to ooze out. Imagine the sensation, the burning heat of the cup followed by the sting of the blade, repeated across his body. This was meant to draw out bad blood from specific areas, but in reality, it inflicted further pain, created open wounds susceptible to infection, and contributed to the catastrophic blood loss. His skin, already clammy from shock, was now a canvas of bruising and small, bleeding lacerations. Simultaneously, the physicians launched an internal assault, aiming to cleanse the king's digestive system of any imagined toxins. They administered powerful purging agents and emetics. Charles was force-fed concoctions designed to induce violent diarrhea and uncontrollable vomiting. One particularly common ingredient was antimony, a toxic metallic element that, while a potent emetic, inflicted severe gastrointestinal distress. The king's body was racked with spasms, expelling every drop of fluid, every ounce of potential nourishment. This relentless internal churning led to severe dehydration and a critical imbalance of electrolytes, leaving him utterly exhausted, his muscles cramping, his mind swimming in a haze of pain and disorientation. He was being cleansed, yes, but stripped bare of any remaining strength. The torment continued with blistering. Cantharides, a potent irritant derived from Spanish fly, was applied to the king's scalp and limbs. These agents caused large, excruciatingly painful blisters to form, which were then deliberately lanced to release fluid. The notion was that these external eruptions would draw out morbid humors, but the reality was nothing more than immense pain, constant irritation, and a further drain on his already collapsing system. His skin, a testament to his suffering, was now a map of burns and open sores. Each new wound added to the mounting physiological debt his body was accumulating. And then, when all conventional methods seemed to fail, the physicians resorted to the truly fantastical. In their desperation, they administered the infamous spirit of human skull. Yes, from actual human skull, distilled and infused with alcohol, believed to be a potent cure for apoplexy and other neurological disorders. He was also given other exotic and dubious remedies, including powdered bezostones, believed to be antidote to poison, and various unproven herbal concoctions. These weren't quack cures on the fringes. These were considered legitimate, if extreme, treatments by the leading medical minds of the age. Imagine the horror of swallowing such a substance, knowing it was part of a regimen that had already pushed you to the brink. This relentless, 4-day siege on the king's body was a terrifying spectacle. The constant bleeding, the violent purging, the painful blistering, the ingestion of bizarre, even dangerous, substances. It was a compounding cycle of depletion and agony. His physicians, with their good intentions, were not fighting the illness. They were fighting the king himself, systematically dismantling his body in a misguided quest for balance. Every cure was a step closer to the very end they so desperately sought to avert. As the agonizing days bled into the dawn of February 6, 1685. The frantic energy of the physicians dissipated. Hope, once a desperate flicker, now died to a cold ember. The king, battered and broken by both his illness and the relentless cures, was clearly slipping away. In these final, hushed hours, amidst a quiet anticipation of death, Charles II, ever the individual, made a decision that would echo through history. He formally converted to Catholicism. Despite the staunch Protestantism of his realm and the political uproar it would cause, a Catholic priest was secretly brought to his bedside. It was a profound, deeply personal act, a final embrace of a faith he had long harbored in private. Even on the edge of eternity, he chose to live and die on his own terms. And then, the words that cemented his legacy as a man of wit, even in extremis. As the final moments approached, suffering immensely from both his illness and the torturous regimen, King Charles II, with a flash of his renowned dry humor, apologized to his bewildered attendants. "I am sorry, gentlemen," he reportedly murmured, "for being an unconscionable time dying." A final, poignant jest, acknowledging the prolonged agony he had endured, a testament to his own suffering and profound irony of his situation. Shortly after, at noon, the merry monarch, battered but unbowed, breathed his last. So, what truly killed King Charles II? While rumors of poisoning, a common suspicion surrounding royal deaths, were quickly dismissed, modern medical analysis paints a starker, far more agonizing picture. His sudden collapse was likely due to a stroke, brought on by complication from chronic gout that had severely damaged his kidneys, leading to uremia, a toxic buildup in his blood. But the true, horrifying irony of his death lies not in the disease itself, but in the desperate attempts to cure it. The massive blood loss, the severe dehydration from purging and emetics, the constant pain from blistering, the strain of bizarre concoctions, all of these, while intended to heal, compounded his illness, drained his last reserves, and undoubtedly hastened his demise. His doctors, with all their best intentions and all the knowledge available to them, were, in essence, speeding his path to the grave. The story of Charles II's death is more than just a gruesome historical anecdote. It's a chilling, essential lesson. It stands as a stark, visceral reminder of the profound, often deadly, disconnect between medical belief and biological reality in centuries past. It's a testament to the agonizing journey medicine has taken from unproven dogma to evidence-based science. And it forces us to truly appreciate the incredible, life-saving advancements that now spare us from such agonizing cures. If you found this deep dive into King Charles II's agonizing final days as captivating as I did, please like this video to help it reach more history lovers. If you know someone who'd be fascinated by this unique blend of royal intrigue and medical mystery, then share it with them. And to join our growing community of history explorers and ensure you don't miss our next journey into the past, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. Your support means the world, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode of Dark Lore.